Hey, what's going on, guys? Justin Williams here with Dirt Time Adventures, and today we're going to be going over part 3 of the Wikiup. It's been a great project. I've really enjoyed it, but at the same time, I'm ready to get it wrapped up. So while building the Wikiup, we tried our best to remain conscientious of how many trees we were using to actually build this shelter. It's actually quite drastic how many that we have to cut down to be able to build something like this. You know, we did our best to harvest as many solid down trees as we can. We used solid big ones for our framework, so it was about 3 pretty good size for our tripod, and then our cross members in between those, there's another 4 or 5, and then we used a bunch of downed dead ones to create the rest of our ribs throughout it. But then there's still at least another 4 or 5 cedar trees that went into covering it, and then you realize it probably needs another 4 or 5 to finish it out. And that's why it's important to supplement with different things like leaf debris, and then even here I'm in a pine forest, so I could be using pine needles as well, and so that's probably what I'm going to finish it out with, is pine needles. But every time we try to build something, we try to harvest sustainably and use wisdom in what we're harvesting. And so I encourage you to do the same thing. And there are other shelters. If you're just looking to build a shelter, there are a lot of other shelters out there that require a lot less material. You can take a wigwam with about 16 or 18 saplings, bend them all over, and you probably can get by with less. Weave in some grapevine, and then thatch it with tall grass, and you saved yourselves a lot of trees. But when we harvest trees, we look for stuff like this right here. These trees right here have had a giant deadfall fall on them, and bending all of them drastically from the source. And so these trees right here, if we remove the deadfall, they might survive, but most likely they're going to grow crooked, and they're just not going to be that healthy of a tree, because their earlier stages, they were under stress the whole time. So we try to harvest trees like this. So we'll harvest all of these here, and then we also try to harvest trees that where the tops are broke out, and then we try to look for clusters of trees where we can harvest one of those and leave the other 2 or 3. And so that's what we try to accomplish when building shelters and being nature minded. That one, and we'll take this other one. anytime you're processing out cedar or any type of bedding, always be sure to get the smallest sticks possible, because you'll have the princess and the pea effect if you don't. I'm gonna lay out some cedar boughs on my bed now, and what you can do here too is now that I got the basic platform on the bottom, I can Lincoln log it on the ends and on the front, and then I could build this bed up as high or as big as I want, and then just fill it in with leaves. Now, you might ask, why did I build the bed or the platform so low to the ground? There's a couple reasons I did that. One is I didn't want to cut into bigger trees, so if I used that, I'd have to either attach my platform to the structure, which I didn't want to do that because I want to be able to rearrange it if I need to put more or less people in here. And so this is low to the ground, which is going to prevent any type of convection heat loss coming in and sucking my heat out from underneath me. But it's high enough off the ground to prevent me from heat loss through conduction. But also I can stick hot rocks or happy rocks underneath it to be able to heat it up from underneath. So it has multi-purposes. You can shove a few items underneath here, but nothing big. The bed platform is quite large enough to be able to stick your pack at one end. It's built for 8 feet long. That way we can have guys sleep comfortably in it anywhere from 6 to 7 foot tall. And so So keep in mind as we get ready to put in a fire pit here that your bed essentially is a giant tinder bundle. It may be cushiony and comfortable, but those pine needles and the cedar boughs are extremely flammable. So we want to make sure that our fire pit is away from us at least 2 to 3 feet. And in Wikiups and teepees, they say to put your fire in the center of the shelter so that way the smoke feeds out the top. But we're going to push it a little bit farther away from us just to provide some security for when we're sleeping. We don't want anything to pop into bed with us. And what we can do is we can put a board along the front to keep the pine needles from falling out, for one, but for two, to keep sparks that might bounce up and hit the front of your bed. So we're going to work on that next. Keep in mind too that build a proper fire ring. We're going to use a digging stick to dig out our pit, and just once again keep in mind fire safety. A fire inside of a shelter like this is intended to be a monitored fire. A monitored fire, which means if you're not awake and monitoring it, then you need to put it out, because it's just highly flammable in this type of setting. So that's where I highly encourage like hot rocks, because you can keep a small fire, let it die down some, put your hot rocks under your bed to heat you up, and then if you wake up really cold in the middle of the night, then all you got to do is heat up your hot rocks again, start your fire back up, warm back up, let it die down again, and go back to bed. But you really want to monitor your fire in a Wikiup situation. Dig that out. We're actually going to push it out to the edges to help create like a barrier. Keep digging this out. We're going to place some rocks around it, and she'll be good to go for a fire pit. Put the biggest ones on the back because they'll act as heat reflectors. And we put the smaller ones on the front. And I'm just taking that loose dirt in the bottom and I'm packing it into the corners of the rocks. So it has its purpose. It's a deterrent for the flames to escape. Push the loose dirt into the rocks. Well, this wraps up the Wikiup series. We'll probably be adding to this shelter as we go. But so far, to wrap it up, we've got our shelter structure built. We've created a fire pit. We've added our bed platform. Notice I left a little gaps over there. I purposely did that so that there can be oxygen come through at the head of the bed. I added this cool little table over here. Sucker was heavy as a beast, but I can lay it flat like that, or I can turn it on its end, and it has a great flat surface there too. Might be able to even try to get a roll fire off of that platform there, and added a couple stumps for seats, and got a nice little living room set up here. Bed, fireplace, seating, table. It's gonna put a drying rack in the top once we finish out adding another couple layers to the top, and this shelter be good to go. Well guys, that's a wrap for today and for the Wikiup shelter build. I hope you've enjoyed it. I want to thank again all my subscribers, my family and friends. I want to thank Trailblazer Survival School for giving me the opportunity to teach and do what I love. We got a bunch of classes booked and we got some ready. We're going to be releasing our new calendar for 2017 in the next week or two. So stay tuned to our website, trailblazersurvival.com, for that. And as always, be sure to share, subscribe, and just continue to show your support and comment in the comment section below. Coming up on 500 subscribers, which been going for a year. It's a slow process, but I want to put out quality footage and I want to put out educational films. And so a lot of times my videos run a little longer, and so some people like that, some people don't, to each their own. So you may have noticed me using today to wipe the sweat. It's a little hot. It's actually like 88 degrees in the middle of October. It's like, I don't know why it's so hot, but it is what it is. But I've been using the new Trailblazer Survival bandana to wipe my brow today, and it comes in real handy. But this bandana is packed full of information and tips and tricks, and so I'd love to be able to hook one of my subscribers up. So what I'm going to do is, when I reach 500 subscribers, I'm going to pick one of my subscribers and I'm going to give away a bandana, and I'm going to also give away a 20% discount on any of our courses, and that'll be good for any of our sales as well. So if we have a sale running, you can take an extra 20% off that course, and that'll just let me know. That's my way of giving back and thanking you for your support and hooking you up with a Trailblazer Survival School bandana. And like I said, they're nice, and they got all kinds of survival content on them. Love to hook one of my subscribers up. So guys, thanks again for everything. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, remember to keep it practical, primitive, and prepared. Dirt Time Adventures, guys. Get out there, play in some dirt.